Back, dude. Let's give it like 10 seconds here for us to load up on all the platforms. Then we'll get it going. The CCAM Live's pretty good. It's been messing with the software for a while. I feel like I've finally gotten it down. I know we were in the past we had some hiccups here and there, but this whole live stream stuff's really been impressive. Um, but it's good. So I think we're good, man. What's up, Mike? How's it going?
I'm good, man. I'm back here. Discuss a couple of current events. We have some crazy stuff going on, right? I've been away for a bit, had surgery and all that stuff, but I'm good. I'm getting on my feet, so recuperating well. Um, yeah, man.
Yeah, it's been
It's
I
been a
know it's,
crazy
it's
two
been an
months.
interesting it's been an interesting couple months on your end. For everyone
Yeah.
out there, that's kind of why we put a little bit of little pause on the content creation. Um, but while you were under, it was heating up out here. The last 2 months, I feel like it was getting wild. We're still looking at this commotion of the Biden Trump voter fraud and all that stuff, and try to remind people that like, oh, this is like it's like the I feel like it's like Groundhog Day when it comes to election day, and you brought up a good point about the 2000 election. So maybe out of this conversation, whoever's watching, we've got 5 or 6 people live right now. We're coming across 4 different platforms for you. But today's conversation is going to be talking about the two candidates and who they really represented and who they really represent. Why
Yeah,
this
the
was
two
such a
main
big deal,
candidates.
main
The
candidates,
two,
why this
yeah, because
election
we
was
have
such a
many.
big deal. Yeah, and then we'll talk about kind of just how what we see kind of moving forward, and we'll make predictions like we always do, and we'll see how many of them come right, like they always do.
Sounds good to me.
But let's go back over though the 2000 election and how this is already turning out to repeat itself from the Gore Bush election.
Yeah, so right now, currently, we have a contested election. The mainstream and everyone on the left, plus some Republicans in government, have already, stated that Biden is the winner through mainstream media election results. So there's people that are on the right that are for Trump are saying that that's not true. It hasn't been certified. There's lawsuits Trump is doing, and it's all starting to turn out to seem a little bit like 2000, the Bush Gore election. The same thing happened. Gore uh, won under the media's eyes, right? They stated that he won, and they had celebrations, and then come to find out, little by little, lawsuits came out, and then it flipped to Bush. Bush became president, unfortunately. I dislike that Bush regime, so that was a tragic turn of events. I don't know if it would have been any different with Gore, but anyway, that's my opinions. It doesn't go with what's going on now. Now Trump is saying pretty much there's election fraud, there's a bunch of stuff going on, so the 2020 elections is starting to look a little bit more like 2000. And if that's the case, I think we need to really look into it more. The media does not want to really talk about it. They're brushing it off like, it's hysterics. And you can brush off because if it goes up to to the Supreme Court, it is predominantly conservative. You have a lot of conservative leaning and appointed judges that could really tilt the vote if it comes to it. And I think a lot of people want to really accept that fact. And it might not be a fact. It might be, it might fall through. But what if it doesn't? What does that mean for the country? I don't go with neither of them. I have my own opinions about the two regimes, but what I can tell you is that will really tear the country into half. This is how this is how civil wars is actually created. The swings of emotions and manipulations and all types of things, and I think it's brewing right now. Right now, you have a lot of people on the right that are really, really heated and mad, and they have this anguish and all of this stuff, and they feel cheated, you know. And unfortunately, I do side a little bit with them that the left and the mainstream media, to me, is more left leaning. They had a lot of forces just pushing down on the right. The right doesn't have a lot of power. Let's be honest here. There's not a lot of strong like right wing media. You know, you don't. You have a lot of left wing. You got MSNBC, CNN, NBC, ABC, all of these forces, all cheering on anything that the left does, and demonizing everything on the right. The right only has Fox News and the New York Post, and that's it. You know, that's the mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
That's not really a lot of power, and so when you look at that, the right seems angry, and I think it's fair because media shouldn't be left or right leaning, in my opinion. It should be non-biased, pure journalism, pure debates with no biases. But it doesn't seem like that, and people on the right know that. People on the left don't want to admit it because it benefits them, which could bite them in the ass if things go down south after this.
Yeah.
And if it does, there could be a lot of conflict, and the people that get hurt are the people that work 9 to 5, that are trying to pay their bills. The people that that they just want to live their lives, under the Constitution and all. But this is where we're at. So I think we need to really look into what's happening. Don't brush anything off. In my opinion, did not like the way the elections went. I think it was terrible. I think the whole thing with mail-ins was a terrible idea, and I don't think it's a terrible idea if it's done right. But man, everything was just done wrong. Everything from the beginning until the end was done wrong. Even when I went to vote, I had to redo my ballot a second time because they didn't, advise me that there was more questions on my ballot and already sealed it. And then they told me to just redo it, which is illegal, pretty much. You're not supposed to do that. I still have my thing there where I ripped it. Let's see, where's I actually have around.
If you're
Have
watching,
around here
let us know
somewhere.
how you feel. We're talking about both
So I
sides.
was able to redo my ballot, but that's not even permitted.
Test.
So it just seemed like whoever is running these elections are just not. I don't know. They don't have common sense. It's a mess. And let me tell you what. Each state has its own rules, and I get that each state has its own constitution as well. But if these are federal elections, there should be just a federal rules across the board.
Mm.
And on top of that, elections should have been done in person, not mail in. The only ones that should have been mail in were people in the military and people that reside outside of the country. That's it. This whole mail in bullshit, I think, was a scam. Because let me tell you what, if we're allowed to go into Walmart and all of that, I think we should be allowed to go and vote.
Yeah. Well,
So,
can you hear me, Mike?
what was that?
Can you hear? Okay, so you can't hear me. Okay. With the audience out there, and I had a little microphone echoing, so if you're hearing a little echoing, we'll get that fixed for next time. But no, it's absolutely true. I think what you're talking about, and one of the things that we've been talking about on the show for a while, and we talked about coming into 2020 was, transitioning world powers. We know that China's a rising power. The U.S. is an existing world power. We had seen the first type of globalization happen with neoliberalism in the 80s or the 90s, right? 80s, 90s into the 2000s, and it seemed like Biden had the same. I mean, he had the same campaign slogan as I believe the World WTO. I think was putting out the Build Back Better. We see this large international push right now. We talk about central banking, right? That's included central banking, the business elites, and Biden was really, in my view, a globalist candidate. I mean,
Yeah, I think he's a
banks
globalist
wanted him.
puppet.
And again, I want that to be known. People watching right now is that I'm critiquing Biden just like I would critique Trump. We all know that Trump hasn't done certain things, but we have to look at things objectively here. And one of the other things that we know we're moving into is a new currency negotiation. The IMF 2 weeks ago just called for a new Bretton Woods like moment where they're going to start negotiating a new reserve currency. Right now, it's the U.S. dollar. Could be something else, but the president that came out of this election is going to be going into the negotiation table for that.
I
What are your
think,
thoughts on
yeah, I
all
think
that?
that's something we don't talk about, Joe, is that neither candidate ever talked about monetary policy. And I think monetary policy is one of the big reasons why we're in the situation we are right now. We're in a situation of the wealth gap, debt burden, poverty. You know, we like to blame capitalism or communism or socialism, whatever. Socialism is what we have some of that in the country. All countries have socialism. It's just a matter of the percentage of socialism you have. It's depends on where you stand with it, but we have capitalism and we have some socialist aspects that everyone blames on. And I think at the end of the day, what people are not blaming on is the banking system and the monetary system. Neither candidate talked about it, and so we don't even know where they stand on what's happening with this. So yeah, like you're talking about this new Bretton Woods like accord that's about to happen very soon. That is predominantly focused on cryptocurrencies and maybe establishing nation currencies within crypto is something that we need to know, because if we do have a dollar cryptocurrency, how will it be backed? How will it replace the dollar? What are the policies? Are we getting rid of our debt somehow because of it? We don't have an idea. And also, will it replace the petrodollar? Are they trying to integrate this digital dollar into that? We don't know. And then we got China. They're miles ahead of us when it comes to their cryptocurrency. They already are playing the pilot game right now. They're offering pilot trials of their crypto. So right now we're in that battle, and I think people don't know. I know a lot of our listeners know, because a lot of our nonconformists, they understand what's going on with the economy. They understand what's going on with currency. I think a lot of them do know that currencies is what actually causes wars. A lot of the wars that we do have is because of that. We've heard of the whole issue with Libya. Gaddafi got, he got off, and a lot of the talk was that he got killed because he wanted to create his own petrodollar, his own petrocurrency, uniting all of African nations. And the United States didn't like that. Neither did with Iraq. Saddam Hussein was talking about doing, instead of a petrodollar, a petro euro. And the United States pushed back, and look what happened. We ended up taking him out. I was part of that war. I went in there thinking that it was for something, and it wasn't for that. It was for power and money. It wasn't for terrorism and all that. It was all bullshit. So wars are fought because of this. So we need to really understand what's going on. Now we're in a situation that we don't know who's going to be president. We have our president right now, which is Trump, up until January. If it's certified, then he'll be president for the next 4 years. If it's Biden, he'll become president in January. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who is going to lead, this global currency situation. We don't know. And I think that's a big issue, right? Because if Biden becomes president, he will toe the line like he's supposed to. Because in my opinion, he's just a puppet. That's what he's always been. He's been a color politician for 40 something years, 46 years, whatever, and that's always been his game. He's always been a puppet, and he'll fall in line with the motto of the other globalists that want this type of order. They want a different order, and so that order obviously has to do with currency. So how will that be implemented? I think it'll be implemented pretty quickly. If it's Trump, I think Trump is going to want to take over the leadership of that. I don't think he's going to stop it from happening, any implementations that might be critical for us. I think that he would, because that's how he is. He likes to bully his way into things and take it over for himself. And if he can't, he'll get out of it, and then he'll say it's for the best of the nation. But it's always a power game with him. So that's another issue.
Yeah,
But I think it is a speed bump. It's a speed bump.
we've talked about in the past as well is the fact that if you look at the wealth inequality in the data and you look at politics, you very quickly start to see that even both sides, right? They're both really in the same club one way or another because, even with Trump, we'll critique Trump now on this side, we'll give our thoughts. He clearly was a wealthy individual that came into office, right? He clearly had the support of other wealthy individuals in this country. The tax reform that we saw initially, as competitive as it was for the corporate tax rate, because I do believe that you do need tax benefits for businesses here, but we've had socialism for corporations in this country too, social welfare for businesses. So I read an article yesterday talking about all the fraud that they now see was in the PPP loans. So I mean, it's like we're not winning with either but it's hard though to talk about because people don't necessarily see that. It's the way I see it is that Trump was kind of he was probably one of the last presidents that you saw that was for the capitalist American dream, America as it was known, right? The last fight you saw for like internet intellectual property rights with China and all that stuff that was going on, but continued to kind of expand the wealth gap a little bit through the tax reforms, through certain ways to funnel money into the banking system, and the joke though now is that like Joe Biden's the president elect, but like if you look at the Democrats, they're all living on coastline towns with fucking yachts and mega yachts and like the printing press continues and
And that's
so
what
I
people
don't
don't
know
like.
where to vote. This is why this election I didn't even know what the people to really tell them kind of thing.
And I think that's why you're going to see a divide in both parties. You'll see a divide right now in the Democratic Party because Joe Biden took a lot of money from Wall Street. He's a corporate Democrat. That's what he is. He took tons and tons of money from the people that followers of like AOC and all of those types of the progressives and far left, those types. They saw what happened. They let it happen because they just wanted Biden to win because they know that if Biden would win, they'd have more leverage against him. And that's what I see. I see that they're looking at it like, all right, yeah, we'll support you. Black Lives Matter will support you. We'll have all of these up and coming institutions supporting you. But once you're in power, we're going to take it from you. And there's going to be a struggle between increasing the levels of socialism we have in the country against corporatism. And the only thing that I see as a collateral damage here is true capitalism. True capitalism, fair capitalism, I see will become victim. It will be victim. And then on the right, there will be a divide between Republicans and Trump followers because right now, not all Republicans are giving their full commitment to Trump with what's going on with this whole recount in the lawsuit scenario. And people that voted for Trump are really pissed at a lot of these, people that are career politicians for the Republican Party. And I think that could also divide that party and become two. Hey, maybe the next 2024 elections will be multiple parties. You'll see a huge divide that could happen. I could see that happening.
Yeah.
You know.
I want to talk about now the potential price. Like, let's kind of give some future projections on cryptocurrencies and crypto assets and the potential price appreciation with those now. Because I know in the Bitcoin community and those that are watching, if you've been watching some of the other content, you'll see that Bitcoin's at around 15,400, 15,005 right now. So we're making a move up, and one of the things that the Bitcoin community has been talking about is that, you know, Donald Trump would have been kind of the the bump in the road, like we talked about on inflation, and therefore capital going into Bitcoin, capital going into Monero, capital going into alternatives from the current financial system. But now that we're seeing the potential of a Biden win, which is going to be more generous in the form of social programs, universal basic income, which is all funded by inflation at the end of the day. They're now expecting, and I mean, I'm agreeing with them. You're seeing the potential now of even a faster price appreciation in Bitcoin and crypto assets because of the capital flight that could happen. So if Joe
Oh,
Biden's
not
going
even
to,
only the flight, just the inflation.
the inflation alone, yeah. Michael Sayer from MicroStrategy, the first company to invest Bitcoin in their treasury reserves, says that he just got to a point where he realized that, if you're holding any cash, you're losing. You shouldn't be holding any cash right now. Like,
Already, the dollar's already losing value tremendously right now. Already, your dollars are losing value as we talk. It has been since the last 2 weeks. Been a steep decline in value. That talks a lot right there. So, purchasing power, people don't understand, everything that we have going on right now is highly inflated if you look at it. And it's because we are in uncharted territories. So, like you said, Joe, with more printing, which will happen, there will be tremendous amounts of printing. And, and there's going to be a false sense of help. They're gonna make it look like they're helping the poor and they're helping the needy and all of that, but it's not real help. It's false help. It's actually creating more poverty across the board because at the end of the day, the middle class needs to pay for that printing of the money, and and the middle class will become poor because you can only tax them so much. You can only ask them so much to work. You know, if a person needs to work 60 hours overtime to try to make ends meet, and they still can't make ends meet. Now you created another poor person, another person going down, the tubes, and that's what's going to happen. Because let me tell you what, if Trump wins or doesn't completely the election, if it's until certified, I don't see any winner right now, but I still see a economic collapse coming in very soon, and I can see it happening before if Biden wins, I could see it happening before he takes office, and it'll make Trump look terrible because it'll look like it just happened on his dime, and I could see that happening.
the waves come either way. It's like,
Yeah,
look, everyone look around right now. How many people don't have jobs right now?
a lot.
It's like I feel like we're like we said we were in the first inning of it when this year started. We were preparing people coming into this year. We didn't know what the event would have been. It turns out it was you know, uh, everyone knows what's going on. Why is the economy shut down? It's not because of the virus, because your politicians are shutting it down. So, this is a plan. I think, like we talk about mine, maybe it is a planned demolition of the U.S. empire, right? Maybe it's all baked in.
Is. Come
Maybe
on,
it's
man.
all
Look at
baked in.
California. California is the only example you need to say and see that there is a purposely created catastrophe happening. The Governor Newsom, California, is purposely shutting down everything that he can. Everything that he has power over, he thinks he has power. He's getting sued left and right because he's over abusing and overstepping his power. Shit, even the WHO, which I totally do not agree with usually, even they said that, countries and the United States went too much over the top when shutting down the economy. It was actually a detriment, not a help to the situation. So, with the WHO saying that, we still have California under total lockdown, almost under total lockdown. Businesses shutting left and right. Left and right. What does that mean? That means that you're creating poverty. Creating poverty. What else are you doing? You're creating poverty in your state. Who's going to take care of all of these people that are losing everything? I don't know. But why is he doing this? Is it on purpose? I think it is. I think that people want everyone to live on a universal income. I think that's what they want. If you have more people work on or live on a universal income, you take away their freedoms of making their own bread. Now you have them living off the teat, literally. That's what they're doing. That's why when they're talking about a second shutdown, the only people that are really hurt, that are really scared, are business owners that are really scared because they're almost in collapse. Once their businesses get shut down again, they'll be shut down forever. And the only businesses that are not shutting down is like Walmart, Amazon, the essential. How they're essential, but the mom and pop store down the street is not. I could order a lamp on Amazon as an essential product, but I can't go to Mrs. So and so's shop down the street.
Right. Yeah, we talked before this call. You and I were talking about how the concept of the individual being stripped away, and if you've looked at over the last couple of years, with this, obviously as social media and technology took off, but there's this sense of stripping away the individual, the individual sovereignty, the individual in your mind, the ego, you thinking about yourself as an individually sovereign person on this earth, can think for yourself, can act for yourself. That's going away slowly. It's being eroded, and it's like, and we are moving into this world where it's like no one can think for themselves. It's all a hive mind. It's all connected. They, in the social media and the tools that are being used by technocrats, we know through psychology, is tying into that, right? We talk about the idea of epigenetics, the fact that there's we can change everything about a person even just by controlling the unconscious mind now. I don't know where this ends, but we talk about it like we're gonna have to see what happens with the encryption laws. That's looking like it's going through here. There's something that I think what people should take away more than anything, though, is that there's more that's going on than what's being displayed on mainstream television. Mainstream television doesn't matter what news network it is right now. Unfortunately, really, you catch snippets of it here and there. And we know because all these famous journalists have been leaving the New York Times, have been leaving the Washington Post, have been leaving their jobs because of
man.
So you can't even get the actual information on any side from the news, from the actual television in front of you. And and what do you do in that world? Well, I'm getting to the point now where it's like if I'm not trying to find an independent journalist on Twitter or something, I'm just not watching it. I'm not watching it because I'm convinced right now that the small percentage of these people are controlling all of us through these devices. And when I shut it off and when I go to my neighbor or I go wherever, I see that like the world really isn't as scary as they make us think it is, right? Like, but the goal is to keep us apart. It's to make us think that we're not an individual person, and it's to create fear. And it's crazy, dude. I mean, we talked about the news outlets. The riots didn't happen like they were wanting to. Maybe there will be a civil war because they're going to cause it from all of the shit that's going on. But
there were riots though. Look at Philadelphia.
Yeah, you're right.
And Seattle and Portland, they did riot when there weren't any answers to the election. So they were, but they didn't want to mention it because it was one sided. The ones that were rioting were on the left. That's an issue, right? So they didn't want to show that. But what that says is that like you're saying, there's a fine group, fine meaning a small, a sliver of a group of people that are here in the States and internationally. Honestly, they're fucking around. They're pulling levers, man, because it's too much of a coincidence. Everything that's going on, right? We just had a documentary that came out about social media, right? The social dilemma.
Yeah.
And that explained very well how the internet works and how your social media accounts work and all of that. It's trained to program your mind and to make you feel certain ways and to sway your feelings, and that's social engineering. Social media is not a media, it's an engineering tool. That's what we have. This is an engineering tool, engineering us to think a certain type of way. And so, I don't know if I got lost there.
I got you.
All right.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, so that's happening currently. There's, we just saw when the whole Hunter Biden situation appeared, Twitter and all of the other news media, social media outlets just totally blocked it. Trump, when he said that, that he feels that there's cheating going on, they blocked him. like, I understand that these are private corporations, but I thought we had a monopoly law. I thought we had that, and I think these corporations have become too big for the britches, and they need to be shut down a type of way. They need to be broken up or something.
Hmm.
Because it's being used as a war tool. Bro, this is a tool of war. This is a tool.
We just haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, we haven't seen it. It's a tool of war. That's all this is.
I forgot who was on Kaiser. It's like they said, this will go down. The war is already happening. It's just that people don't know it yet because we've never seen anything like it before, and we won't know until like after it's done, kind of thing. Looking back, you're like, whoa.
Yeah. And what pisses me off, man, like, the majority of all of this shit is happening on the fucking left. Then that's just the reality of this.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter what the majority of this is happening on the left. Because let me tell you what, if Trump would have won all those states on that day, the left would have been coming up with a bunch of shit saying that there was cheating, there was probably Russia helped or something like that, and that's all we would be hearing right now. But since he didn't, apparently, we're not sure, but it looks like he probably didn't. They're not mentioning anything. Everything's legitimate. Everything legit. Everything. There's no type of everything went smoothly. How is that? That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense, honestly. And I think we should probably have a whole fucking election again.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. It's like, if this is going to get heated and there's going to be this war in the courts and all that, and it could get heated really quick. If it happens, honestly, they should just do another election. Shut down, we want to shut down our economy, then shut it down for a day for voting. Let everybody out there go vote again and have it transparent, everybody on both sides, very transparent, and do it again. Do it again. If everybody wants to sleep well at night, do it again. Because you know what? This ain't gonna end well. That's my opinion. That's what I think.
I'm gonna write myself in. Next time. I wrote in.
I'm gonna go vote for the
Bitcoin's the escape. That's what it's all about. Well, we don't really know. Bitcoin for digital gold, Monero to make sure that no one's tracking you, kind of thing, right? But yo, Mike, I gotta go though, bro.
All right, brother.
Yo, Art, this is great. We had one comment. Thanks, Nick, for commenting. If you guys liked it, you could like this post, share this post. That's the best thing that you could do for us, and subscribe at the nonconformist.io. We're back on the grind now, man. So y'all better be ready.
Yep.
All right. That's going to be it, y'all. We'll see y'all soon.
Peace.